Hello folks and welcome. Linux Mint 22 Cinnamon. Today I'm going to talk about a little bit of advanced, medium to advanced concepts on your file manager Nemo using bookmarks to computers that are running remote services. I'll be doing this in multiple ways. I'll also talk about connection stuff on your local network, and you can actually look at that too on the internet. That kind of stuff. But anyways, I'll talk a little bit about using ping for troubleshooting. And we're going to talk about how to do bookmarks in several different ways to connect to remote computers using your file manager, Nemo. Filming in 1080, welcome. This logo here should be in the corner with yellow brackets if you like to subscribe. If it is missing, go find me on YouTube, Linux for Seniors. Linux is for any age. You'll see that statement in my About section. I do not get paid to make videos. I do this for the Linux community for information. So in either case, folks, again, welcome. So today we're going to talk about your file manager, Nemo, adding bookmarks in here. But before we do that, I'm going to basically tell you what I have online. I have two computers running SSH server, which we're going to connect to using your address bar in your file manager and using bookmarks. Okay, but we're going to verify communications first. If you don't know anything about this ping statement, anyways, if you don't know how to read that, that's your user and computer name. But we're going to be pinging those computers by IP address and also names. To give you an example, if you want to ping something off the internet, you can do Amazon.com, for instance, and it should answer back because my DNS found what that address is currently. But we're not dealing with Amazon.com, we're dealing with local network computers, and I have three, and two of them I'm going to be connecting to by name or IP address. So I'm going to punch up clear, but I wanted to let you see you can use ping for even .com addresses or .org or anything else in between. We're going to be using that for an IP address. So I have a machine in mind. Your IP address could be different, but I am going to, and I'm sure it's different, but that is my fictitious network on my local network currently, and I need one more number. So 172 is a computer called Mate22, and it runs a SSH server. So I pinged it. It doesn't tell me that it's running the server. It just tells me I have a physical connection. And that's all I'm using this for currently, just to verify that we can connect to it. It doesn't tell me if their firewalls are configured or none of that stuff. But I can also ping it by name. Now, there are two things that you need to be aware of if you do names, because on your local home networks, usually you don't have name resolution services running. In an environment like enterprise or small networks, sometimes they have name resolution services running. But you can also use your hosts file for this if you just want to use short names. So the name of this computer is Mate22, and I can ping it by that. If you don't want to adjust your hosts file, and the reason I adjust the host file a lot of times is if I have multiple users on the same system, because they can access the same file because it's stored in the etc. folder, and I will show you where that's located. But if you don't have it and you don't want to adjust your host file, you can still ping this by adding the word .local on the tail end. So it's mate22.local. It will still ping the same machine. That's just to test the communications. So it's getting very busy, so I have the other computer. So I'm using the same statement, ping. It's called tman lap. I used the same name on my previous video of a couple of days ago, and you can see that it didn't find anything because it's not in my hosts file. However, if I add the word .local to the tail end, it will find it. So far, so good. I didn't want to confuse a lot of the users on my first video, but since a user brought this up, I thought I'd cover this. Anywho's, you can ping those by using the .local on the names on your computers. It doesn't tell me if it's running any services though. All it does is tells me it's connected. And that's our basic troubleshooting. Typing an exit. Now let's talk about your graphical file manager, Nemo. Your Nemo can do a lot of wonderful things for you. Our user for today is Sam. Generally, when you're connecting to computers, I showed this the other day, we use this nice convenient box. We punch in the server IP address, the name, or the name.local, whichever you prefer. SSH by default uses port 22, unless you have made some advanced changes to port numbers, but I'm using the standard. Username and password. I'm not going to do that today. We're going to use the address bar. I'm going to type in SSH because it's nice and convenient to do that. And a colon, which is found 2 keys to the left of my enter key. And then I'm going to put in 2 forward slashes, normally found on your right shift key, it could be right next to it. Forward slash, not backslash. You have to have these users already created on these systems, and I do. And all of the users I'm using today have admin rights. And this machine is running client SSH. The other ones are running server SSH. And they are Linux Mint family machines. One is a Mate computer. The other one is a Cinnamon. All right, so Bob L is the name of the user. And I'm going to type in Mate22 to start with. If that Mate22 is not found, then you can add the .local to connect to it. But it's in my host file. So I'm going to make it simple for myself and all the users on my system. And now it's asking for a password for Bob. All right. So I'm just going to say this once. I normally would leave the default and put in the password for Bob. Remember forever I normally don't use, but since I'm filming, I want to see this box keep popping up as a reminder that you need to log in. Okay, so I'm going to use that. And what that means is once I put this in, it will log in and then forget the password. Okay, hopefully that made sense. All right, now that I'm logged in, I can toggle this and you'll see SFTP, stands for Secure File Transfer Protocol. ://. You can also use the front end of that if you want to use to connect. The reason I use SSH, it's a digit shorter, and it's faster because you just tap the S twice and then the H. That's all up to you. Now, what I'm going to do here is let you see there's no bookmarks here. I have 2 devices and one of them is mounted and I have the icons turned off. If you want, I will hit customize and turn this to default, which is show mounted drives. Okay, and you'll see those. You can now see that I'm logged in as Bob on Mate22 on this folder. It's right here. If I collapse a network tree, then you won't see it. Okay. However, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a bookmark in here. So I'm going to add a bookmark, and it produces the first one here. Otherwise, you won't see this. You can't delete that, but you can remove this, and then it'll remove the bookmarks. Okay, but I'm going to leave that. Okay, and now we have a bookmark. And now I'm going to hit eject. And now it turns into an orangey looking circle thing. All right, so you can already see that my demo drive is just mounted. It's not a big deal. And let's say you shut down the computer and you came back the next day. You open up your file manager and instead of using this box and going through all the setup again, all you do is click your bookmark and then put in your password. Again, I'm using this because I want to see that prompt box. You would normally just leave it for the session. Log out, remember password until log out. Anyways, you get the idea. So pointing to this blue bubble, it says SFTP. We can always toggle the entry to go look at that. Not a big deal. So I'm on Bob L on Mate22, not the local user. But this is only one kind of bookmark. So I'm going to toggle the entry and give you 3 more entries for the same machine. So we're going to type in SSH colon 2 forward slashes and then Bob L again at and then the IP address, which is the most common. What if I did not know the name of that computer? Well, you normally are taking a guess at either the IP address of the computer, but generally you can find that in the network information. But if you're creating a tab, let me make this smaller. I'm going to ping that Mate computer because it's in my host file, which I haven't discussed yet, but anyways, that's the IP address. If it's not in my host file, then I would ping it this way. That will give me the same address. I'm hitting Control C, otherwise it keeps going forever. You can see there's the same address. So either, and the only reason I could do this is because it's in my hosts file. And this one, I left that equation out. But we're going to create a connector in here. And since I already can see the number, it makes it easier for me to type this. And it's 172. Because there's the number right there. All right, I'm going to close that. I'm going to hit enter. It's going to ask for a password because I'm connecting in a different way to the same machine. And now I'm going to go to the home folder and let you see there's 2 users on that system. The Mate user, I don't have access rights, but I do have access rights to Bob L because I created that account. And I'm going to bookmark it. So that is the same machine. I will do one more. SSH colon 2 forward slashes Bob L at mate22.local. The most common way if you don't want to adjust your hosts file. Let's create another bookmark. I first have to log in first. You have to fully log in to make a bookmark. That's always recommended. And I'm going to do it this way. Now we're going to compare these things. Delete, delete, delete. No, I'm just disconnecting, not deleting. The bookmarks are still here. So let me cover this. Hopefully you can see this. This says Bob L mate22.local. That's this bookmark. This one says Bob L at 192 and whatever the IP address is, /home Bob L. Same machine. This one says Bob L at mate22 /. All of these are the same machine. 3 different ways to put bookmarks. Any of them will work. What happens is if your file system in the etc. folder, there's 2 things in here I'm going to show you. One is the SSH folder. Not that you need to be aware of this, but anytime you just see these 2 things, that means you don't have SSH server installed. If SSH server is installed, you'll have more files. You'll have another config file that says SSHD on it, and then SSHD_configd, and some other files. This machine only has SSH client installed, and that is done by default that I found out for the Linux Mint desktops that I've been using. By default. If not, you can always go in here to your software manager and confirm this. Type in SSH into the search field. Open SSH client should be installed, and it is on my machine. And this was a fairly fresh install. The server on this machine is not installed, but it is on the other Linux Mint machines. So far so good? Okay. There's one more file in the etc. folder. So if you're coming in from fresh, you would click on your file system, you would click etc., and you would look for this file called hosts with an S. This file is owned by root, so you need root permissions to make any changes. But all users on your locally logged in system can use this file. So I have more than one user on this system also. But all of them can use this file. And you need to be in root mode to edit this file. This is generally what you find in there. I added this line in here, and I can add as many entries as I want. And the only purpose this serves is to translate that into this number. Because I do not have anything running on my local network that does name resolution. It doesn't take and convert the IP address to a name. This does. It's the poor man's way of doing that. You don't have to adjust this file at all if you don't want to play with it. As one user put it, I don't adjust my host file. That's fine. You don't have to. But if you want to make it easier for all your users by using that name instead of mate.22.local or something.local, because you're always typing that on the tail end, then you can plug them into these files. That's all I'm going to say on that. That's how I got away with doing that. But I can also use mate22.local if it is not in the host file. So far, so good. Hopefully I didn't lose you. Now, anytime you create these things, there's a hidden file in here. Sam is our user for today. So if I right-click and show hidden, this directory here is called SSH Folder, in other words. Has a period or a dot. This file contains security information. And when I started this video, this was blank. Okay, so basically all this stuff means nothing to most people, but it collects security information. So when you're connecting, either using Terminal or the file manager, you get a pop-up that says, would you accept the security information, yes or no? And in Terminal, you have to type in yes. And once that's done, it adds it to this file. If you wipe the information out of here, I would have to start all over again. Hopefully that was clear. Not a big deal. Just wanted to show you where some of these are located. Control H, and we'll continue now. What about the other machine? Well, that's that laptop. We're going to use the same thing, except I'm going to use Control L to highlight that line instead of clicking in there and type in SSH ://. The username on that machine is tman1 at tman lap, and I'm going to leave out the .local. This is not in my host file. I wanted you to see the error. It could not display that because the host is not found. So am I sunk because it's not in my host file? No. All you do is add .local to the tail end. If you want to add the file to your hosts, you can. So let me use the ping statement for a second. So if I ping that by name, tman lap, you will see no service found or name not found. However, if I do the .local, it will find it and also give me the IP address. If I wanted to add that into my host file, I could. I'm going to finish this. Let me click in there. All right, so anyways, I am now trying to log in as that user on that machine. That one, unfortunately, is using a short password, and I would change that, but that laptop that I'm using doesn't leave this house. It's just a demo laptop. All right, in either case, I'm continuing on. So I just mounted that one. That one has 2 users, as I pointed out earlier. And if I didn't, I can't log into that. I have no authority for that. I'm logged into this guy. All right, let's do bookmark, add. We can also do it differently. We can do SSH colon 2 forward slashes and tman1 and at IP address. It's right in front of me right now, sitting over here in terminal. 192.168.1.178. Log in. I'm going to close this box now. I don't need this anymore. And I will open this up, log in, and add a bookmark. All right, so now I have two connectors. They are to the same machine. One is by IP address, and one is by tman lap local, because it is not in my host file. Remember, that was in my host file, hosts file. IP address, Mate22 local, Mate22 by itself. I don't think I need to do that unless I wanted to add that into my host file, which I'm not. Okay? If you don't want to see these kind of icons on your desktop, right click, customize, settings, turn this off. All right, and let's go back to the file manager. You don't want to see your bookmarks, collapse them. You don't want to see your mounted drives, collapse them. You don't want to see your network mounted drives, collapse them. Okay, you can also adjust this. You can also double click. You can also hold down your control key and scroll up. All right, am I on my, how do I know where I'm at? Am I looking at my local folders? No, because of that address. You can toggle the entry. SFTP. Control L. Control L. SFTP means I'm not on my local system. I'm pulling that down, and I'm going to make two boxes. Control N as in Nancy, and you can resize them. And then I am going to open up my bookmarks and log into the laptop, either using the IP or using the name. It doesn't matter. Okay, so how this is connected because it doesn't have a triangle on it, and you can see that. Okay, so this is the laptop. Home folder. Sam is our user for today. Sam has got a backup in here. Do we know what a tar file is? Well, let me let you see what's in the tar box. He backed up all of his stuff today. Okay, everything's in the box. So a tar ball is what this is normally referred to, and tape archive or tar is not compressed. There's one of these over here on that machine. It doesn't have a date on it though. And it's rather big. I'm going to open it remotely. And I'm just waiting for it to respond. So that file is being opened on the laptop, and we're going to take a look at some files here. Maybe we can throw them in downloads for maybe a couple seconds. So all of this is junk, so what I'm going to do is wipe these clean because I don't really need any of those. They're all demo files. This is Sam's downloads folder. This tar file came from that laptop. So I'm going to borrow some things from it, but not extract everything. Just a couple of things. So I'm going to grab the scripts folder, and then I am going to grab maybe some pictures. More than one maybe. I will grab number 1, hold down the control key, go with 3 and 14, and drag those over. All right. Space bar to get a preview. That's kind of a stormy one. And this one I've shown many times. It's just a simple butterfly. I didn't extract everything, did I? Nope. I just pulled 3 files out of a remote server's tar file. Sometimes you don't need everything. Sometimes you need the whole file. Transferring 3.5 gigabytes with SFTP will take a while. But I didn't need all those files. All right, so bookmarks is one thing. Transferring files is another. Using terminal to use this kind of stuff. We can also I pointed this out earlier. We can also log into SSH this way. I will do tman1 at tman lap, but it's not in my host file. So what do I need to do if I want to use the name? Put .local on the tail end. And as long as it's online, what if it didn't answer with the prompt box? Well, then I would probably try pinging it first to see if it's online. Anyways, you can see it's asking for a password. If it is the first time, it'll ask, normally a security certificate thing will pop up asking you to type the word yes to accept it. All right, anyways. What can we do by looking at this laptop? We can do a ton of things. I've shown this before. I'll put in FXC to strip out personal information. What's in the box on that laptop? All right, keep in mind, this is my local machine is different from this. So that machine is running Linux Mint 22. It's an Intel N95 quad core. What kind of drive does it have? Well, it's got a Samsung solid state, looks like, NVMe. It's a 990 Pro. That's actually a very nice solid state drive. 2 terabyte. What about this local machine? Well, since this box is so big, let me punch out clear first. And then I'm going to exit and type in INXI again for this local machine. I'll let you see that it's totally different. This local machine is also running Linux Mint. However, it's a desktop. I got motherboard information this time. The laptop did not. This is using an AMD Ryzen 5 and that blah, blah, blah. It's using System D. What kind of hard drives? Got lots of them. 1 NVMe and 2 regular hard drives. Lots of information. You can also do services. Execute services. I showed that in my last video. Really not going to cover all those things in here today. My main focus was on bookmarks and how you can bookmark things. And these can be collapsed so you don't have to look at them. And then when you're ready, you can connect. These two are currently connected. I can tell that because they don't have those triangles. But if I do this, now they all have triangles because I'm not connected anymore. And you can just leave them there. Do a reboot, do a shutdown, come back later. When you get ready, then you connect with a password. Thank you for watching.